Good Lord. I think Sherry's rolled in. Look, the guest is flying in from the start. You never know who's going to show up on the GovCast today. Shari Levitin, we are blessed. Woo! Stick around. Big things happening on the GovCast today. People are like, what is this show you're running? Who's there? What's happening? Big time today. We've got big time guests picking our game up as we skyrocket into the top million LinkedIn lives. How's everybody doing? Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. New Year. Am I missing one?
Just happy holidays.
Happy holidays, right? As there's something in my soul hurts me as a good Christian man to say that. So I try to knock them all down so I can't get sued. So how's everybody doing? Hey, who's that? Who's that over there? Who is that, Steve?
I'm back.
She made it back.
I haven't been on since before Thanksgiving, I think. And Thanksgiving.
What's your name? Who are you? What's your name? Who is that?
I'm an imposter.
Who is that? Andrea's back, engaged from Mexico. Where were you in Mexico?
Tulum.
Is Tulum worthy? What are we doing?
Tulum was beautiful. The beaches are beautiful. The food was great. It was fun. It was long.
How was the COVID ranking? A very COVID scared or what?
I think there's a lot of COVID there, but we tried to avoid, packed places.
Good. I'm glad we're remote today. I'm glad. Stay over there. Good COVID's everywhere. All right, well, that's good.
And any cool excursions, Dre? Did you get to go on any activities?
Snorkeling? We didn't do the snorkeling. It was raining one of the days, but we did do the Mayans. We went and looked at those.
The ruins?
Was cool. Yeah, the ruins.
Yep.
We did that. We did a lot of relaxing, to be honest. It was nice.
Yeah, you needed it. I'm glad. Look, you look fresh. You look all refreshed. Steven and I still beaten down. We'll see you on vacation too. I am beaten down. I need to get my vacation in there. I don't know when that's going to happen.
Good enough. Once we hit the sales goal.
Welcome back. We miss you so much. I'm glad you're here to get control back over the show. It was really off the rails, and we upped our guest today, so perfect timing. Stevie B, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, Stephen Bryan, the Dean of GovSales University. And we are excited because the 16th, we are be hosting a webinar.
Whoa. You jumped right into it. Go ahead, do your thing.
Hey, I'm excited, Jack. So next Wednesday, we're going to be hosting a webinar. So anybody that's tuning into our normal time for the GovCast, join us for our webinar. It's going to be Wednesday at 12 o'clock, December 16th. You can just go to our website, govsalesuniversity.com. There's a little button there that has a webinar. Just fill it in. We'll be doing it Zoom. And hope to teach you the basics of government sales. So if you never sold to the government, don't worry. We're going to teach you where to start the process. A lot of people are like, I know I can make money selling to the government. They spend $7 trillion a year. It's great. But where do I begin? So we're here to teach you the ropes. Make sure you have success.
Listen, our guest today, Shari, as soon as we started talking to her before the show, she's like, doesn't that take like 9 years? So Steven's going to blow all that up. Like,
she said 50 years. I think that's what she said. It takes 50 years for a government deal.
Because what does everyone say? Listen, all the things we do, everyone knows we operate in the government world too much. But inevitably, when we do a webinar, when we do a training, when we do a speech, when I'm on a podcast, inevitably, everyone's like, I want to do it. Just like Shari said. And then they always say, what, Steve? What's the first question? As soon as we tell them, what do they always say?
Where do I start? Where do I begin? Those are the questions.
Yeah, so that's what the webinar is. I didn't realize it was next week. So next Wednesday won't be a live GovCast. We're going to do a webinar. Just sign up. The link is below. Can you scroll that again? The link's below. Listen, and we're not going to try to fill a whole hour of bullcrap, right? We just want to give you out of the gate as you're starting your 2021 plan. What are some things you can do? The government, as you've heard us say before, is going to be one of the few entities spending more money next year. How many private entities will be spending more money next year? It's crazy. And they always pay. Another big thing, right? Some of you have contracts they're never going to pay. You're going to go bankrupt. They're going to say COVID did this, COVID did that, going to pay you in 6 months. So what we want to do is get you out of the gate. Where do you start? Very, very specifically, hopefully super quick, somewhat entertaining. And then we want to tell you how to start the process. And then once you're in it and you're growing, right, it'll just have a life of its own. But it's always the first couple of steps in anything. You go to the gym, you try to sell to a new market, first couple of steps. So that's the entire thing. I think the three of us will be there, right, Dre? Are you coming or?
I haven't gotten the invite yet.
DJ Dre, you're always welcome. Come
probably
on.
In your email. It's probably way down there and things. So just
I've been out of office.
That's it. So it's in there somewhere. So cool. So next Wednesday, that's what we're doing. But today's one of those special days because part of the GovCast, one of the things I love, every once in a while we'll have like an athlete, a football player. I love football. Ravens won last night. Thank God. So today we have one of the folks I've been following on LinkedIn really since I started, and it's been amazing. She is one of the LinkedIn influencers. We're so blessed today to have Shari Levitin with us. So Shari, thank you for joining us today, CEO of the Levitin Group. How you doing?
I'm awesome. I'm just trying to decide if I'd rather go to Tulum or watch your webinar.
Definitely go to Tulum. Definitely.
Tough choice.
How could one decide, really?
Go to Tulum. Go to Tulum.
How about both?
How about both? I could go to
webinar.
and go to your webcast.
Watch. Go to Tulum and
Best of
watch.
both worlds.
That'd be great. Look, you're in Tulum and somebody said, do you want a pina colada? Yes, but I'm watching the GovCast for an hour. So can you come back? Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Maybe I could learn to sell to the Mexican government. Now that would really be interesting.
Whoa.
Sounds a little challenging.
That's a whole new vertical for us right there. Look,
There you go.
Look, we'll set up an affiliate, Shari. You can have the Mexican territory. It's all yours. We haven't gotten that part done. So I think most of you probably already know Shari. She, again, if you're on LinkedIn at all, if you're in the world of sales, you've seen her. Amazing. Love her stuff, her energy and her stuff. But Shari, for the two people that don't know you, can you tell them a little bit about your background and what you do?
I don't want to lose your rankings, though. You're in the top million.
I know it's a lot of pressure.
There's a lot of pressure on me here. I got to tell you.
When we started this a year ago, anybody who could come on, it was a thing. We didn't care. Now, we got there's a standard. You see the graphics we got popping off. The bar is very high right now. Very high. So let's not mess it up today.
All right. So what do you want to know? What do you had a question?
Yeah. Like tell the two people that don't know you. Why don't you give them just a little? Let's just before you tell them how to do great things, let's at least tell them how you learned it yourself and what's your background a little bit.
Oh, well, I started selling when I was 5. I was the kid that did the magic shows and sold the tickets around the corner to everybody.
That's really hard to believe. It's hard to
really. No, I actually got in sales when I was 22. I had majored in college in partying and skiing, did really well in both. Kind of took that proverbial year off, got into sales by accident. But seriously, one time we were all sitting around. I started in B2C. I was selling with Marriott. So I was in the hospitality space, and we were all sitting around talking about what we'd do if we won the $32 million lottery or something. And Lisa Landon, who's really fancy, not like this, really fancy, was saying, oh, if I won the lottery, I'd get this gorgeous home in New York on the Upper East Side. I'd shop in Paris. And then this other guy, Mark, says, oh, not me. I'd start an outdoor adventure company and I'd, take people on expeditions and I'd have llamas. So then everybody looks at me. I said, I'd start a training company and I'd help people sell more authentically. And I'd bring in guest speakers and I'd, create this synergy with sales teams. And they all sort of looked at me and went, you're sick. But Peter Williams put his arm around me and said, you don't have to win the lottery. You can do this. So that had been my dream. I was the top salesperson in all of Marriott and then VP of sales and ran sales teams of 300, 500 people. But the truth is my passion, whatever title I had, I loved training and developing people. I think because I was fortunate enough to have a great mentor who showed me that being better at sales was really more about being a better human, learning to listen better, learning to, goal set better, to be authentic, all of these things. And it didn't just help me sell more, it helped me to be more. And I thought, wow, if I could help other people transform, this is really what life's all about. So so there you have it.
That is incredible. I love that. I think it's interesting. I think when I meet sales folks or wannabe sales folks, it has such a stigma. We all know, right? From the car dealer. What time is it there? What are you drinking?
Oh, I'm jealous.
It's a Pellegrino.
She's in Utah. Oh, okay. All right. She's in Utah.
They don't let us drink anything but Pellegrino here.
Listen, because Dre is our resident stir the pot. Well, like we've all kind of, you never know what Dre's going to be drinking. So, all right.
Celsius, I think.
They don't even drink for real though on here.
I'll rewind it. But I think when folks
you don't know about that one.
Folks it's such a bad stigma, right? Sales get such a the car salesman person. It's horrible. But I love when I watch this stuff, I'm so drawn to it because I agree with that. And we try to do that with our staff. It's like, hey, sales is the end thing. It might be a work thing, but really it's about developing professional, personally, right? And trying to be the best you can be and being great, as a person. And that will then roll into all your sales and what you're doing. So when you go, can you talk a little bit about what is your going in when you start talking to either a company or an individual? How do you start to assess that? It's hard to say to somebody, hey, just met you, here's how to change your life. Like, so how does that work from your end? Where do you start? You know what I mean? Like when you start the process, how's that happen?
Well, interestingly, where I was just saying this to somebody yesterday, 80% of all of our revenue right now comes from LinkedIn, and it's inbound, which is really nice. And I think sellers and companies need to understand that there is so much noise out there and there's so much competition. And I heard Sally Hogshead say once, you don't have to be better, but you do have to be different, right?
Yeah.
You have to be
Amen.
different because there's so much noise out there. And actually, my story of really building my LinkedIn following is a little bit of an embarrassing one. I live in Park City, Utah. I love to hike. I hike or ski or run every day. To me, it keeps me calm.
Amen.
But one day I was hiking up a hill, and I'm talking to one of my associates, my VP of sales, and he's quite a bit younger than me. He's a young millennial, and he said, "Shari, I got to tell you, you got to stop with these canned videos of you in your business suit in front of a bookshelf because you're not resonating with our generation." And I'm hiking up the hill, and he's like, just be more authentic. He said, in fact, right now, why don't you do a LinkedIn video or a Facebook video? I said, I'm not doing that. I look a mess. I don't have any makeup. I'm sweaty. He goes, exactly. I dare you. I will dare you.
Real.
Right? So I thought, okay, fine, because he kind of ticked me off. I said, all right, I'm going to do this. So I record some video. It was like the 5 virtues of top sellers or whatever. And we got 12,000 views.
Yeah.
From this. And I looked like, right? Like I looked raunchy, but it occurred to me, wait a minute, I'm spending all this time prospecting, looking for leads. My team actually was doing a lot of that. And I thought, wow, this is really incredible. So we shifted right away. And I started putting out a video every single Sunday on LinkedIn. And, it started to grow and grow. And then what I found was if you put out great content or in any situation, and for SDRs that are watching, whatever, the idea is that we want to give value today. You want to give value first without even asking for anything in return. So whether you send an article, whether you send a clip, whether you send a video, think value because you're asking somebody for their time. And that's a precious resource. Look, we can always make more money, but we can't always make more time.
Amen.
So I'm asking you for your time. I got to give you something of value in return. I think that's where a lot of sellers get it wrong. So that's really how we started. And now, people that like us come to us. People that don't like us, we wouldn't have been a match anyway.
Who doesn't like you? How could that be?
It happens. I'm telling you, it happens.
Get out of here.
I'll turn to this. I think it's one comment so important. Like some of the folks that we interact with in the government space, all they do is post all the time selling their stuff. So totally agree with that, right? It's like, hey, I got it. You sell consulting. I got it, right? You know what I mean? And so it's, hey,
right.
Can you show more of yourself or add, give value added content? Totally agree with that advice. Steve.
Yeah, well, I just was reading one of your articles. It talked about like the attention span when you were talking about millennials went from like 30 seconds down to 8 seconds. And I've heard other people say this. They call it like the fish mindset. Like they're just looking out there. So what's that?
What was that?
Oh, that's my fish noise.
Is that a fish?
Yes, that's a universal sign for fish. Everybody knows that.
I didn't know the fish swum north. That's okay though. So keep going.
Upstream, Alaska. We were talking about it earlier. They're fighting for their lives out there. But that's what you're doing in marketing. You're fighting to get attention. So you're trying to get 8 seconds of their attention. But how do you do what is some of the secrets that just grabs them right away? Like, do I just look a mess and people are like, what the heck's that? It's pattern interruption, or what are things that work? Well, I'm serious because 12,000 views or whatever you had, that sounds incredible. So like, what's the thing right away that, you recommend? Is it like just a funny
it
thing?
depends. So like, if you're doing video, it's very different than if you're writing an email. So let's distinguish that first. Yeah. A lot of people ask me about video. I would say, and I hadn't really thought this through, but let's just go with it.
Let's do it right.
I think one of the first things is just be yourself. Just be your silly self. And if you're not a silly self, just be yourself. So, and I tell people, don't have this as your background every time, because backgrounds catch people's eyes.
Yeah.
So if you love to ride horses, do it on a horse, right? Do your video on a horse. If you, are, doing philanthropy, show yourself with the children, what you're doing, and then tie it into a message, because that creates interest right away. So I'd say that's one thing.
Yeah, background scenery. I like that. Switch it up.
Yeah. So really think about your background. I would say number 2, you've got to solve a problem right away. So too many people go in, hi, I'm Shari. It's really cold today. Click. Not like I can look at a weather report. Like I can figure out how cold it is in Park City today.
Yeah.
So you got to get to it very quickly. Again, we were just talking about attention span. So, hey, are you having problems getting a hold of your clients in Q4? Or, right now, how do you sell to friends? A lot of you are Zooming with friends over Christmas. You have a product they want. Let me show you, so hit the problem that people are having right away, or the issue that you're going to solve. And that's a huge thing. And then the third thing is what I just did. I love doing things in threes. And I do 3 wrong. You're supposed to do it like that. Do it like that. I don't know why. But if you tell somebody at the beginning, there's 3 ways to write a good email. There's 3 questions you need to ask to do a good discovery. So for anybody that's, wants to give a client a tip or wants to be an influencer on LinkedIn, when I find that when I number things, we're holding the audience. So that's really critical.
Got it.
And then literally just do it, because you're not going to be great at first. It happens over time. Think about your lighting. Like right now, I've got this light that actually makes me, look like I slept last night or something. Think about your lighting. Think about your mic. Like I got this mic here. Can't see it.
We started this. Steven, did you see the flesh? Look, see the nice flesh tone. Steven's had that. He's had that light the whole time. He's had. Dre and I
to buy one.
Yeah, Dre and I keep working through. We are working, but Steven right out of the gate was like, "Oh, look, I'm flesh tone."
I'm the palest Irish guy. I had to do something to make it look good here.
It makes us look the tannest when we're a little bit dark, Jack.
Like Dre, right? Dre's we need to light Dre up, and mine's a mess. So.
No, I appreciate those tips. There's 3 tips, and I think I seen that a lot with blog posts, or like the 21 things you like, the 15 things you like, but keeping it to 3, short and sweet. So I appreciate that.
Is this how we do it?
Think about a joke, right? Jokes are done in 3s. Usually there's the guy goes into a bar, then he goes into here, or it's the rabbi, the priest, and the, whatever. It's usually 3.
I'll remember that. Thank you.
Dre?
So I got one. It's related to COVID. So more so, and it's probably a loaded question, but how do you think the sales process has changed, I would say, over COVID, especially companies that had a lot of outside sales reps where they're having to totally transition to everything virtual?
So this is actually, I think we are in the middle of one of the most seismic shifts in sales. It was sort of like when inside sales came years ago. It became the new thing. And we realized that by segmenting sales, that we could actually, that we could get to more people in less time. And that was huge. Virtual sales is here to stay. And I want to explain what that means and put some context around it. Gartner came out with a report. This shouldn't surprise anybody. Right now, today, 90% of all B2B sales are occurring online. Okay, that we know. But here's some other interesting stats. 86% of your workforce would take a pay cut to work from home. And now people are realizing, whether it's women that mothers that can be a little bit more with their kids, or it's people that just want more work-life balance. Like when I started in sales, there was no such thing, right? But people are saying, wait a minute, I'd rather work from home. But here's the kicker, is that sales leaders predict 50% of all sales conversations will still occur virtually even after the pandemic. Why? Let's look at the reasons. If I'm an outside sales rep, maybe I can get to 2 or 3 people in a day. If I'm selling virtually, I can get to 8 or 9. Is my win rate going to be as high? No. Face-to-face is still better because you can smell each other. And I'll get to that in a minute. No, really. I'll get to that in just a minute. But here's the thing that we have to realize is that you can get to more people. The companies are saving huge amounts of money with a virtual sales team. The results are in. If you've got the right hires, they can be even more productive at home. But I want to say that there's a big misconception about what virtual sales is. And even after the pandemic, it's a blend, right? I'll give you an example real quickly. I bought a car during the pandemic. I really did. But if you think about the process that I went through, right? I kind of knew what car I wanted. So like every other customer today, I looked online.
What kind of car?
I can't tell you.
Oh,
SUV. It has to be a full.
come on. Now's not humble time. Come on.
It's a Cayenne. It's a Porsche Cayenne. It's so cool. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I really wanted one. And, I live in the mountains, but anyway, I got to, try white and then red and then these tires and all of this, of course. And then somebody comes on chat, and they want to talk. Well, pretty soon I end up talking to the salesperson who understood that the first few steps of this process need to be virtual. Yeah. So what did he do? He gave me value. He started talking, sending me information and whatnot. But the clincher was he then took a video of the exact car and color I wanted coming off the trailer new and them taking the wrapper off. Right? Yeah. So now, and he writes,
here's your car.
You gotta just come into the lot with a mask and smell this. By the way, we got a pot of hot chili. Come on. But again, all I'm saying is that the first few steps, that's virtual selling.
Yeah.
Selling by video, by email. He was sending me texts. So I think even after the pandemic, I don't think we need to get better at omni-channel everything. Amen. So there's so many parts to this. He pinged me on social media. He linked with me on LinkedIn, but sellers need to understand there's really 4 or 5 major differences to doing a virtual sales presentation. And I'm finding today, Jack, Steve, and Brains, that too many people today just think they're going to take what they did live and do it online, and that doesn't work.
Amen.
There's big differences that you have to understand.
Shari, can you talk about that? I know one of the things you says be different. One of the things I talk about all the time, right? You can't stand out being like everyone else. It's a big thing, right? It's like, hey, how do you do it 180 degrees? And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But being different gets everyone's attention, right? Whether it's a different business card, a different sales pitch, just this, you know what I mean? Like, so can you share some of that as you talk about being different? What are some things as you taught the sales folks? I know you have this virtual class you're about to release. What are some things you share with folks? Hey, here's how to be different in this new world of sales as we go into 2021.
Now, do you want me to talk about being different in general, or what are the differences of selling virtually?
Either way, whatever you think.
I want to hear both.
Yeah.
Let me start with the differences of selling virtually, because a lot of light bulbs go on for people. Mm-hmm. I would say, and I sort of talked to you about smelling. So the first major difference in selling virtually, and again, a lot of account execs right now are selling completely on Zoom. And again, we will continue to. Yeah. Sometimes they can't come to your dealership, or you can't come, if you're B2B, to the actual office, or you can't visit them. The first thing is trust. So trust is very different online. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's harder. It's harder to build trust online. So there's a couple of things you need to do. And one you need to establish virtual presence. What does that mean? That means that people are making a snap decision about you by the way you look. So we touched on that just a little bit. So you've really got to think about, and I will tell you, the number one fear of sellers is, oh my God, how am I going to look on video? Right? So you need to plan that. You need to get to a place where you have few distractions. For goodness sakes, invest in an $80 LED light, right? Get your microphone right. Don't show people what your office really looks like, my office is, but I got like a little spot here so that I actually look professional.
Yep.
But these things are really important. And the reason, so people are judging you and you're building trust by your virtual presence and your technical prowess. Yeah. If you are messing around with speakers and screen shares, you've got to practice, folks. This is one way you're building trust, but here is the biggest way. Have them turn on their camera and you turn on yours. when people get shy, you are 7 times more likely to close the sale if you can see each other.
Yep.
Remember that we're building rapport through body language and tonality, and this is really critical. And to give you the study, there's a hormone called oxytocin, not to be confused with the drug OxyContin. Okay, that's not good. Oxytocin good, OxyContin bad. Okay, but oxytocin is it's called the trust hormone. Paul Zak called it the trust hormone, and it is released when we are together in the same room as we start building trust. And it actually causes people to be more compassionate, more empathetic, and spend more money. So we don't get that right now. We're not getting an oxytocin squirt. In fact, researchers ingested customers with oxytocin in their nasal cavity. No, really. And they actually spent more money.
Whoa, that right there. You could sell that thing right there.
Right? What else?
Yeah.
Look, your COVID vaccine and your oxycodone.
Oxytocin.
There.
But think about it. I figure if I can get somebody to put something up their nose, they already trust me, right?
Amen. Amen.
I mean, you know.
Listen,
Right.
we're not in our staff meetings. We're the same way. You're not allowed to talk in our staff meeting if you don't turn your video on. Like, you know, people be like, "I didn't do my hair." Like, no talk. If your camera's off, you're not allowed to talk. That's it.
That's some people say,
Well,
great, I don't have to talk.
I'll give you 2 more of big virtual shift.
Great.
That one seems more obvious to people. This one doesn't. The second one is time. So if I'm an account exec and I say, hey, can I stop by your office at noon? Just for 15 minutes. If the rep is good, that 15 minutes, right, turns into 45 minutes. Pretty soon they're bringing in other stakeholders. Then you go to lunch and maybe you're even signing a contract, right? So you've got more of a serendipity when you're live. When you're virtual, usually when you're talking to a top decision maker, they've blocked off 30 minutes for a Zoom call or an hour. But then what happens, and we've all had this happen, you've got your 30 minutes, you start the call, and the CFO says, all right, I got 8 minutes. Give me your spiel. I got another meeting.
Oh, yeah.
So what the default of a poor seller, what they do is then they skip the rapport building step, right? I'm just going to get to the demo. Big mistake. You're better off scheduling the demo for when they have time and building a relationship. Hopefully you've looked them up on LinkedIn, you know a little bit about them. Hey, I see that this and this, and you build that trust so that you can rebook. But knowing this about time, we really stress in our course, how do you do a great pre-call plan so that you can expand or contract what you're doing? And that alone, we've done that with countless organizations. Really understanding how to do that pre-call plan makes a big shift.
That's great. So great.
Yeah. Shari, I want to ask you a question because you talked about, developing rapport. And one of your posts talked about the double click method, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Like, people just say, hey, what do you like to do? And I think your example was hunting, but it's like, well, I don't like to hunt. I'm a vegan. Like, take it a step further. Why do you like to do that?
Yeah.
And I think that was so powerful because sometimes it's natural for people to do that. Like, you should, as a salesperson, generally care about that other person and want to know more. But people do that switch technique you were talking about, like, oh, I like doing that too. And then it kind of goes off. But developing that rapport, especially when we're all remote, I think everybody is feeling a little like, isolated, right? So they feed off this connection, right? Like, this is one thing that I love doing. So just a little bit more about that rapport building, because I think that's so important and people might find it difficult being virtual.
Yeah.
Because I always look in the background, I kind of see what people have, but if it's a blank wall like Dre, you're not getting anything on her.
Steve normally has a cat right there. Mia's
I have my door shut right today because my wife's home. So yeah, no cat.
No cat.
Well, yeah, Mia normally hangs out right here. It keeps me company.
Your cat's name is Mia?
Yeah.
My dog's name is Mia.
Oh!
Hey.
Name her Mia and Mia can me.
Why did you name her Mia?
You have a cat dog.
Well, that's a good question. Somebody asked me once if I could meet anybody dead or alive, who would it be? And Amelia Earhart was in the top 3. So her real name is Amelia Earhart.
Oh, okay. So Mia
So
for
call
sure.
her Mia. When you're on a trail, you can't go, Amelia Earhart, come.
It's too long to get out. I get it.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Steve, why did you name your cat?
Yeah. Why did you name your cat?
Mia, it just says that like pretty name to it. So there's not like a backstory about anybody that we knew. We're just looking at names, and Mia had that tonality that we liked to it. It was like Mia. So
Sherry wins that little report.
Can I see Mia? Can you get her? Can we see her?
whew, yeah, she's really big. Continue to think. I'll be back with Mia.
I want to meet Mia.
I gotta get a forklift.
Go get your forklift with the cat. Go ahead.
See you in a bit.
Sherry, one tip for building rapport online while Steven grabs the cat.
How to build rapport online?
Yeah, that's where Steven left that question of like, hey, he can't. Well, how can you help him?
Yeah. So first off, I just want to define trust, because I find sales trainers use a lot of these platitudes, right? Like build trust, build rapport. It's like, okay, but how? Right. So trust in my mind is really made up of 5 things: empathy, competency, reliability, integrity, and vulnerability. But the order matters, right? So empathy gets you in the door. Oh, yeah.
Hey Mia, look at the camera.
Hi, Mia.
You think it was a dog, Sherry? Look.
Look at that.
Hey Mia.
Oh, she's beautiful.
There she is. Thank you so much.
She's gorgeous.
She's heavy. It weighs in at a good 20 pounds.
She's gorgeous.
Thanks.
Oh.
That's the show stealer.
You want me to get my Mia? You'd have
I'm going to go get my dog.
We're doing pet day here.
So I go get my dog?
I'm going to get my dog.
You're not going to be cuter than this dog.
Mello is really cute.
I'm having dog envy right now.
I'm
I'm
going to.
Oh, here we go. The show is coming apart.
When I left, we were talking about developing
Jack,
rapport.
you talk about empathy for a moment or rapport, and I'll be right back.
Oh, there you go. Steve, now you got to carry the show.
So, all right, I can carry the show because anybody trying to get a hold of a co-founder like Jack Siney, look at his hat. It says the Ravens. If you want to get a hold of Jack, put Ravens in the email, Ravens on the LinkedIn.
Yeah. Listen,
and he'll respond.
It's so funny you just brought that up because I was thinking that as she said that too. I go,
yeah,
I am such an easy get. Like I had one sales rep from Gong. If you're not familiar with Gong, great company. One of their sales reps literally sent me, the Ravens played. This is like a year ago. The Ravens played. The guy literally sent me a thing. He was like, hey, what'd you think about how Terrell Suggs played last night? Not good or whatever. You know what I mean? It was like,
straight. You're like, yeah.
Oh my God. I was engaged. Who cares what he's pitching? I was like, yeah. He did play like crap. I can't believe he. What's that? Look at this. So I agree. Look,
haircut.
Finding something that relates to people that you're trying to reach is huge. Right. How big is that dog now?
He's not that big. He's just very hairy. He needs a haircut.
Mellow, right? Yeah. Wait for
podcast.
Right. We lost this. Everybody, pet time.
We're off the rails. We're in here.
This is already the best GovCast. Who cares about sales?
Who cares
about their animals?
It's all about Mia.
This is way more fun. Oh, cute.
Steven, this is a live way how you build rapport. This is Sherry doing, look, this is live experiment.
This is it. Connection.
Right.
Well,
Mia. Meet each other.
Mia.
She's cute.
We just got a note that said it went from podcast to pet cast.
Yeah, she posted that one. Yeah, it's so funny. We did. I had a little dog. I mean, Lola's small, but I had a smaller dog years ago. And when I walked it, it was what was it? It was like a Maltese, whatever. But it kind of looked like a cat, but it was definitely a dog. So when people would ask, I'd be like, "What is that?" I'd be like, "It's a cat dog." So you guys have a cat dog. You do and be like, and people would just go with it. They'd be like, "Oh, a cat dog." You know what I mean? You just say it. They'd be like, "It's a cat dog? Do they make cat dogs?"
Is that a real thing? Like a Labradoodle poodle?
I just kept it moving.
It's all about saying it with conviction, right?
I would just, right? And you got to walk away because you can't. And people, look, my wife would look back, and be like, "Did they really buy that?" I'd be like, "Yeah, it's a cat dog. One of the first." You're going to see a lot of them in 2021. COVID, cat dog time.
Cat dogs, yes. Well, because they've had a lot of time to breed. They've been indoors.
Yes, it's amazing. You
got to keep their masks off, though.
I know people have questions. There's some questions here we're going to get to, but I want to ask one question to Sherry directly, and then we'll do some of the questions.
Yeah.
Listen, so Sherry, the world you operate in, again, this kind of sales of being a leader, mentor thing. can you share with the audience and us too, like Stephen runs Gov Sales University, helping folks sell to the government. Can you, as you think about your business, how do you look at, when you say some of those, like whoever, Gittimer or Cardone or, pick a person, when you think about what you do, how do you differentiate yourself? How do you, without divulging any of your, company secrets, but like, how do you look at differentiating yourself? Because some of it can be a little warm and fuzzy. Like when you think about your brand, when you think about those folks that are out there now, all with big brands, God bless, like how do you look at it internally? Like, how do you analyze it?
That's a great question. Actually, when I started, I set out to be the anti-Grant Cardone. And I've met Grant, and I'm not saying anything wrong with Grant, but to us, we have a very opposite audience. In that, to us, it's really all about replacing the hard sell with the heart sell. And we believe, again, our real differentiator is a couple of things. Number one, it all starts with connection, heart, and authenticity, but you have to balance that with the need to roll up your sleeves and have the courage to get the deal. So it's not all la, 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 because then people, if you teach sellers that, then they invite you to Thanksgiving dinner, but they never spend any money with you, right?
Yeah.
So that's been one differentiator. The second one is just fun. Look, salespeople don't learn without fun. So when we do an event, it's a rock show. I mean, like we're doing now, we've got games and fun, and it's very, very interactive. We have killer music. We have all kinds of things that happen before the event, after the event, because at the end of the day, even the way the brain works, when we laugh and have fun, we learn more. It actually opens up the learning centers of our brain. So if you're just delivering, that's why a book, right, or just listening to something isn't going to have the same effect as being at an event where you're having fun and you're interacting, right?
Unless it's Heart and Sell, that book I heard so good. That's something over your shoulder. That's what really engaging.
There it is. Team GovCast with the graphic.
There it is. Oh,
Nice.
there it is. Look.
Right on point.
We're popping off today. Besides that,
I would say that the big thing is we really don't just focus on the training process. We focus on the learning process. And we'd rather work with fewer companies, work deeper, and show an ROI. Our whole thing is, I don't care how entertaining the sales trainer is or how fun it is, we've got to create results. So we're not trying to just see to get as many customers as we can. And so we really customize. We get to know our clients. We work deep. We get to know their businesses. And we understand how sellers learn. So it's not just about how we want to train. It's about how they learn. And we, in fact, have a whole course called It's Showtime, the 4 pillars of an effective training, learning, and coaching process for leaders. So once they have our content, we're training them to be great coaches so they can eventually fire us.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we're not transferring the competency to your team, you don't want to call the plumber every time you want to turn on the sink. So, yeah.
Yes.
Teach a person to fish.
There's a bunch of questions, in there. So, Dre, you want to process a couple of those? And
yeah,
the audience is way smarter than us. So let's get them involved.
Well, I was picking a few. So we've got Sally. So Sally said, so this would be for you. So how do you find the why for your product?
Sally, I'm want to really understand that question. Is it your why, or how do you communicate that to your customer, why they should get your product? I'm not exactly clear on the question, which actually something I just did is something you should do with your customers. If they ask you a question, if you're not 100% sure, you want to get them to clarify it. Otherwise, you may be creating an objection or answering the wrong question.
Yep.
Yeah, amen. So amen.
Well, while she's clarifying, there's another one I wanted to ask from Mateo. So he says, where do you see marketing and sales alignment in a post-COVID world?
Well, that's the age-old question, right? Aligning sales and marketing is always very difficult. I believe that we can't be so siloed between sales and marketing, right? They're seen as different departments. They're really not. They're really cohesive. So what sellers, I don't train marketing, but I can say from a seller's standpoint, sellers really need to know and understand what marketing is doing and saying. Content marketing isn't something that is reserved to the marketing department. You've got to know as much as your customer does about how they're positioning the product, what features are important to the customers. You want to use the same languaging that your customers are using, that your marketing department is using.
Yeah.
And I will say that there's a huge overlay when you are working on LinkedIn, when you're working with social media, you are marketing. That's what you are doing. You are marketing to your customers, and you have to make sure that everything that you put out there looks as good as your hat. Right? I mean, look, it's can't just wing out these automated, awful LinkedIn requests. I heard the term "show me, you know me." You've got to personalize your marketing and your communication. You got to show people you know them. You got to solve to involve. The modern seller needs to really engage in both sales and marketing.
Yeah, that's great. We were talking about that when you were off getting your dog. It was when you were off getting Mia. It was like, hey, when I had folks live and breathe the Baltimore Ravens, and so anybody that starts an email or something like that, I'm like that what's that movie Squirrel, when the dog goes squirrel? You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, Ravens, yeah, I'll read that email. You know what I mean? I'm an easy get.
I think that's Up. The movie Up.
yeah, you got it. Dre, you got one or two more there?
Yes. I've got two more. So Mateo said, do you have any advice for when reaching out to school districts?
Oh, I can take that one. Or you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's actually in like the government wheelhouse. When it comes to school districts, I'm assuming K through 12, we've had a lot of success actually starting at the top, going to like the superintendent, because each school is individual and they have the principals and it funnels up to the top, and then just work your way down. And normally, if you can't get a hold of the superintendent, they'll have a business manager at the school and they'll steer you in the right direction. Just make sure your pitch is, on point. You have 30 seconds to actually explain your value, how you can help that school. And then you can set up the meeting through that business manager. But starting at the top, the superintendent is where I would go. And then let them funnel you down. Trying to get individual teachers and stuff, they're not going to have those buying decisions. They might be the end users who you want to have on your side. It's always good to have internal champions. But if you're trying to work your strategy, go to that top.
Yeah, Mateo, reach out to us, and Steven or Andrea will connect with you and give you some specific. We'll actually, one of the unique things we do, we'll show you every school district that's buying whatever you sell, and we'll show you the top ones. We'll do that totally for free. So just ping us, and or they'll reach out to you, and we'll kind of close the loop on that one. Good?
Wow, that's great. That's great.
Sally, she did her other thing, right, Dre?
Yeah, I wanted to ask. Yeah, so it says, what is the why of what you sell? The product is the what?
Oh, I think what you're asking is, it's sort of the difference between features and benefits. So again, the biggest mistake that salespeople make, perfect example, you go to get a massage. Okay. So let's say you're going there. If somebody starts telling you how it works, how long it is, what credit card you need to use, that's all about the product of the massage.
Yeah.
Okay. It's 90 minutes. You can have a male or a female. You can be in an outside room or an inside room. It's $10 extra if you would like oil. Whoa, that's cool.
I'm glad you said oil. I'm glad you said oil.
Yeah, I tell a story about this, about how I actually walked out of a place that did that. And then I go to another place and I said, can you tell me about your massages? And the woman says, tonight we have the water doll. It's about how you're going to feel. He has the magic hands. He put new energy into your soul. So the second one was selling the energy into my soul. Or stress. Like, look at the water industry. I mean, it doesn't tell you what's in the water. It's just smart water.
Yeah.
Shit, I need that. I got a big meeting. I ain't gonna do that. So you want to, Sally, write down in one column on the left, what is your product? What are all the features of your product? Whatever it is you're selling. But the more important column is the right-hand column. Why does the customer care? What problem are you solving for the customer? You do nothing else in sales. This is like the most important first thing you can do. Put yourself in the shoes of your customer. This is leading with empathy. and say, what problems will it solve for my customer? The second woman solved the problem that I was stressed. I needed to relax. Smart water. I'm not feeling as smart because I didn't sleep well last night, whatever. So think of your product in terms of that and you'll find your why.
Amen.
That was great.
So, so we're running short on time a little bit. So, Shari, at least one last one. So our audience, right? I think mostly sales folks look, the double
It's
wedding.
the most important question.
We'll set that look. Watch online. There'll be a big wedding. We'll coordinate.
Definitely Salt Lake. We're having it in Salt Lake.
Salt Lake.
Or if you want to come to Florida, depends what time of year it is.
Sometime in Q1. Just watch out for details. Watch out. For details. Shari, can you? When you deal with sales folks in general, and I'd love for you to kind of talk about some of the resources you have for them. Any of the top things, tips, feedback for folks in that industry? You've had an amazing career. Reach out to her. It's amazing. If you have an event, Shari's the very best. So when you talk to sales folks, what are you have a top 2 or 3 things? Hey, make sure you're doing this. Get out of the gate. We all hit a slump, right? How do you get them out of the slump? Any of your general 5-star things. I don't want to have you leave the show and be like, oh, we didn't talk about that. So anything that really you have on the tip of your tongue, you're like, these are my best things. Make sure people know.
I want to put it in a little bit of a wrapper. There's a great book by David Brooks. He talks about character, and he distinguishes between resume virtues and eulogy virtues. Resume virtues are, of course, those things you put on your resume. Eulogy virtues are what people say about your character. Yeah. And too many salespeople are leading with resume virtues only. They'll call me and they'll go, okay, what's the 5-step approach to isolate an objection? What's that question? Give me the script.
Yeah, amen. I hate that.
The problem is if you're focusing on these external things, the scripts, the close, whatever, and you're not working on what's underneath it, the you underneath it, you're never going to be effective. So I'm going to say 3 things that you need to do for your character. And I wish I could tell you I had them licked. This is what life is, right? It's an ongoing process of getting better and better. Yeah. The first and foremost, particularly now during COVID, you need to have a growth mindset. Look, people throw that word around a lot. What does that mean? Carol Dweck, psychologist, divides people into 2 categories: people with a fixed mindset, people that say, I don't do good in technology. I'm not good with names. Yeah. I don't know how to do that. And people with a growth mindset that says, I'm going to learn it. You got to learn technology right now, folks. You got to learn how to handle your Zoom call. You got to learn how it integrates with your CRM, whatever it is. You've got to say, I don't know, but I'll find out. So have a growth mindset, learn it. You can't sit back. This isn't going to go away. Yeah. Number 2, I would say, is really just confidence. I find so many sellers, they don't pick up the phone. They don't ask the tough questions because they just lack confidence. Look in the mirror. You're good enough. You're pretty enough. No, seriously. Action cures fear. You've got to just keep going. 10 years from now, you're not going to care who said no. You're not going to remember.
Yeah. David Goggins, just get out and do it. Just go.
Just get out and do it, man. Right now, today, if you take away nothing else, write down the 5 things that scare you most in sales and do them. Yeah. Email me. Tell me about your results. My biggest breakthroughs have been because I thought, what scares the crap out of me? Great. Now I got to do it.
That's awesome. What's the third one, though? Growth mindset, confidence. What was the third?
Positivity.
The way you do it. Look, the way you do it like that. Not like that.
3. The third one is positivity. It's really easy to go, oh, woe is me, COVID, it's awful. I have friends that, oh, this is so awful. Look, the truth is, when you can be grateful, when you can think about what's working, what's good, who does support you, when you can look at a deal and say, yeah, I screwed that up, but here's the 3 things I did right. You're actually shifting your brain. When we are in a positive emotional state, what happens is we're more creative, we're more loving, we're more giving, and more resourceful. Practice positivity. It's an art, it's a skill.
Amen. What's the name of the book you mentioned that had the traits in it? What was the name of the book?
Oh, David Brooks. Yeah, David Brooks on character. He's a New York Times columnist. He's fantastic. And I put it in my book.
Oh, there it is. That's the key. Look, we'll put that in all the notes for the audience. We'll put that all in the notes. So Shari, as we're doing that, give how do folks find you, reach out to you? Tell folks you got a lot of things going on. I know you have the new Rehumanize the Sales Process. I know you have a virtual course coming out. You're a star on LinkedIn. Like, sell you, like, go ahead, do your thing. There's a lot of things you're helping folks with. Can you?
I'd love it if you connected with me on LinkedIn. We put out 2 or 3 free videos every single week into the sales community.
Cool.
Connect with me, send me a note. Don't try to sell me anything on LinkedIn right away. Wait, build a relationship with me. So could definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. You can email me directly, Shari, SHARI, at ShariLevitin.com if you're interested in keynotes, courses, whatever. And certainly you can go to Amazon and buy my book, Heart and Sell, 10 Universal Truths Every Salesperson Needs to Know.
Amen. She has a ton of videos online, ton just on LinkedIn alone. A lot of things out there. As you could see, her energy and her experience was amazing. Could not recommend Shari enough. Any last words you have for the audience, the millions and millions of the Shari's fans?
Stay positive, test negative.
Amen. Shari, you missed your calling as a preacher. You got a bunch of those one-liners. I mean, there's a preacher, there's a pulpit out there for you to do that thing. All right. Thank you. Hold on. There's one last question that I missed. You got it.
Name of book.
Yes.
Heart. Here, I'll hold it up. Heart and Sell. It's on Amazon. 10 Universal Truths Every Salesperson Needs to Know.
And we'll put all the links on the GovCast. Thank you so much, Shari. You have a great holiday. God bless. Stay safe out there. All right. Be great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you. That's awesome. Love it. For those of you that stay, listen, Shari's the best, right? So just encourage you. There's probably about a dozen folks out there. I mentioned like Cardone and Gittimer, and Shari's in that mix of like, but certainly has a different vibe than some of the folks that are out there. So just encourage you to watch your stuff. And I think like all things in life, if that fits, as she said, if that fits, your vibe and how you live your life, and her energy is amazing. You can tell, she just brings it all the time. And so encourage you to reach out to others. She has a ton of free things. She was just slow playing it. She has some virtual classes coming, and she has this new Rehumanize Your Sales Process that's out there. So as a keynote, really, really great stuff. So, Steve, you want to pitch your webinar? I know you got one last go. You got one last.
Sorry to jump the gun at the beginning of the show. Really excited. But yeah, next Wednesday, December 16th, 12 noon Eastern time. Oh, I got the close up. Here we go. Yeah, come join us. We're going to get right to business. No playing around. We're just going to teach you exactly what you need to know. This isn't like some crazy sales pitch that people think during webinars. We're going to have some free giveaways, though. And what we want to do is help you take those first steps. The government is the key to your sales in 2021. And we're going to show you the ropes, tell you step by step what you need to do. We're taking course content from GovSales University, and we're going to bring it to the webinar. So you're going to love it, and hope to see you there. You go on to our website, govsalesuniversity.com, just click the webinar button and fill out the Zoom stuff, and you'll get the alert notification.
Painless, super painless. We'll add some levity to it like the show. Dre, any last words?
No, I'll be there. I do want to read that book that she was talking about, though.
Yes. Isn't this better than being in Mexico on vacation?
So
it's a tall coin flip.
It's hard.
No, it's not. You should be there and watch the show. Did you watch the show when you were there?
I didn't, because I was flying.
We are out. See you next week. Be here at noon. God bless. That's goodbye. Yeah. Everybody, thank you for your time and energy. Have a great holiday. Stay positive, test negative. Amen. We're out.
We out of here.
We're going.